My name's Darren Clare. I'm the current CEO of Stratton Craig, which went through a recent sale to PCG. Firstly, I was approached to see if I was interested in selling. The first call I made was to Nick Tippett at PKF Francis Clark.
In terms of helping Darren in a transaction process, trying to understand what success looked like for him was a really important part. For a lot of people, they start on a transaction process and look at value, and everybody thinks about the number that's attached to the business sale. Now, that is a hugely important aspect, but there's a lot of other aspects that need to be considered. So you've got to think about the culture that you're going into, what legacy you want for your staff, and those were really kind of important parts of Darren.
What surprised me about the process was how complicated it was. It was all pretty much brand new, lots of new terminology, huge amount of complicated tax advice. I knew that PKF Francis Clark and Nick Tippett and his team would help me navigate the whole process and would give me confidence that I was doing the right things, both from the legal requirements, the tax position, but also for the good of the business and the team at Stratton Craig. The things that I liked about the approach for PKF Francis Clark were the easy and simplistic way that they laid out what the process was going to be. They never sugarcoated anything. They let me know when things were going to be quite tough or needing a lot of attention or a lot of time.
A transaction process is always an emotive process for people. There were times when it was high pressure in the transaction process, and I think what Darren really appreciated from us was us taking that pressure away from him, taking him to stand back from the project whilst we could take certain areas forward just to decrease the load on him.
My first impressions of the team were that they were firstly professional. They really knew their stuff, which is the first thing I was looking for. But what surprised me is how normal and human they were. Nick Tippett asked what my objectives were personally from selling the business, which really surprised me because I thought it was just going to be about the commercials and the tax and the sort of black and white stuff. But it was really interesting to have that conversation because it actually helps make the right decisions. What you realise when you go through this process is at times it's incredibly stressful. There were times when I was literally about to pull my own head off, and Nick, as I said to him a few times, pulled me down from the ceiling with his calmness because he's been there and done it. And if they didn't have that sort of personable way about them and that empathy to understand what you're going through, I think it would be a much different experience to what it was.
The most enjoyable parts of a job for me is getting to know the people that we're working with, making sure they get the right outcomes. And in the case of working with Darren, we really kind of achieved that because he was very open and he really appreciated the support we provided. And so by him committing the time to us to get to know him and work closely together, we made sure we got the right outcome at the end.
I would absolutely recommend anybody looking to sell their business to work with PKF Francis Clark and particularly Nick Tippett and his team. They were just fantastic to work with, and I have to say, made the whole process a lot more manageable and enjoyable.